All right, so on the stage with me, I have Dr. Mari Garcia from Guadalupe Union School District. I have Vicki Murray, Curriculum Instruction from Lompoc Unified School District. Veronica Binkley from Harding University Partnership School, part of Santa Barbara Unified School District. And Anna Scharfeld, who is the principal at Hope Elementary and Hope School District. So welcome to everybody. You guys all recognize them from being on the film. So today was all about really talking about the research, the why, right? Why this is all important. Sometimes I feel like we're preaching to the choir in the room, but these women up here have actually put it into practice. And so we are here to kind of learn from you a little bit, take your suggestions and recommendations. I'm sure not everything was roses, right, as you're doing this, which is okay because thorns are part of nature too, right? And we learn from those thorns as well. So I'm going to start off and then I have some specific ones for you. As school leaders, you are the ones who set the vision. And we heard about that there needs to be this through line, right? Somebody who's championing this work. So what made each of you kind of include having access to nature exploration areas as a component for learning?
So my big passion is supporting students in critical thinking, problem solving, and I'm an explorer at heart and taking risks. So I was very fortunate. My mom is Swedish. I taught in Sweden for 2 years. And when I would see we would be outside all the time, no matter snow, rain, and just the independence that students have over there, and the ability to do anything, really, when they're outside playing, very different than here. So yes, it's like we're worried about the legality of things, we're worried about what the parents are going to say, and so my vision is really like, we got to get them outside. We need to give them the experiences to learn, to grow, to make mistakes, and for our teachers to also be okay with that messiness. So that's my passion. And so starting with our youngest is important so that they can continue on into 6th grade and beyond.
I'm just going to add on to what Anna said, and adding on to all of the learning that happens and the language component, right? Students, when they are just running around a play structure or out just on a grassy area with very little to do, just chase each other and they run around and they scream. Literally. And that was right outside of my office. So believe me, I knew it very well. The play structure that was out there before the outdoor ed classroom was built was an abomination. I don't know how it was legal. The kids would literally get lost in it. So, and then scream. So anyway, what happened was when we did build the play structure, we did get a lot of people that would say, like, so where are they going to play? Which was really funny. And so I would just say, watch. And so they come in with the same enthusiasm as they did with the huge play structure, but then they just quietly disseminate and they go into whatever interests them because the little areas are all sort of specialized. And then they begin to have conversations and they plan and they talk to each other and they naturally explore and they use language. And their behavior improves and their language improves and they're literally learning on their own. And so the reason that we put this in place was a lot for the language development and also for the social and emotional learning. But for me, like Anna, my background was in sailing, and I took my kids on a semi-circumnavigation and we explored the world when they were very young. and just watching them in different countries, not really speaking the language, but yet able to communicate with other kids, and seeing what was just on the beach really was rich. And I wanted to provide that for everyone. And it was shared with all of the people that I worked with, that like all of the other educators wanted the same thing. And so we had this cohort of teachers that were dominating, that were very dominant, and we planned well together. So it happened.
So I would say yes and yes, but then I would add on that I was probably a come late to the party. I worked for a large district and left for 3 years and worked in a smaller district. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall with the age going down for TK. And so I partnered, thankfully, Michelle Robertson actually connected me with Shelley Grand. And if you don't know who she is, she's a phenomenal preschool director up in Buellton. And so I went over and saw what she had happening in her center, which was outdoor classroom. And so I've always been the kind of person who I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. So she had said, well, Vicki, if you're really interested, I know that there's a course you can take with the preschool, and I forget the name of the outdoor, I think it's called Outdoor Classroom Project. You can take the coursework and know a little bit more. And I'm sure she thought, sure, Vicki, you're not going to do that. You don't have time to do that. Well, yes, I do. I have Saturdays. I can do that on a Saturday morning. So I did. And I will tell you, between having the opportunity to see it in action at Shelley's place and at Zachar Preschool, and going through the coursework, which was, I want to say 6 Saturdays, 3 hours, and it was online at the time because we were still in the wonderful world of COVID. It really, really, really resonated with me. And so I went back to the smaller district that I was working with at the time. I totally talked about it and said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. The teachers there kind of understood it. They themselves said, Vicki, can we sign up for the course? And they did. I left that district because it was time to come back to the bigger district. And so I definitely am very passionate about this, sometimes to my own detriment to be too passionate. But it's definitely something that, as I've been talking about it now in a larger district, it's not been something that I feel like I'm asking them to do. They are now asking me, Vicki, come see what I'm already doing without a lot of extra funding, not without a lot of, you have to do this. They themselves intrinsically are motivated because they're seeing the impacts. And so, yes, like we just heard about professional development, really important because we are having to shift mindsets. It's not the TK of 7, 8 years ago that I remember it just being slightly young kindergartners. And so passionate, yes, but it's more about building capacity of the people around me, because I'm not going to be in that capacity forever. I will be around, but it's really powerful to see it in action. And I think that's what triggers others to get super excited about it. So that's would be my passion around it.
Good afternoon. Yes, it works. It's a pleasure to be here this wonderful Friday afternoon. And, first of all, I want to give great kudos and thank you to the First Five, Santa Barbara County, the Audacious Foundation, United Way for what you saw here a little earlier, our Early Learning Center. A little bit about my background. I did start at First Five, Santa Barbara County. I did grow up there for many years, and I saw the vision and systems change opportunity in Guadalupe. And it came from a vision with Dr. Hendel, trying to bring our students an early ed experience. And it started off with expanding our TK instructional minutes. I know it sounds very bureaucracy in those terminology, but that's what it began with because it was a part-day program. It was only 3 hours. And so we started looking at, through the community, what were the benefits, what were the gaps in opportunities for early education, and it was quite a desert. So since then, in the last 6 years, it took us quite a bit to expand TK. Every year we expanded its birthday window, we increased more and more our enrollment, and built that trust with our community through many conversations, through many opportunities in the community. and with our principal, right? Because at the time I almost had to sell it, right? The importance and value in early ed. And it's not until I became my own site administrator at the early education center there in Guadalupe do I get to implement the vision that I had forth for Guadalupe. And it's firsthand experience of working with our teachers, working with our paraprofessionals to help them see the larger vision. Because if they don't see the larger vision, then it's just curriculum they're pushing through activities. But if they don't see their larger intent in that vision, then it gets lost. And so they start seeing the benefit of having this outdoor space, having a garden that just built up from one day to the next. I'm very thankful for that opportunity. I have a story. Just yesterday, I had a student was doing my morning rounds in the classrooms. She was eating cotton candy, and it was 8:30 in the morning. And I said, "Oh no, Miracle, we don't eat cotton candy 8:30." And so I had exactly like taking candy away from a child. She just dysregulated and began crying, and all the students were like covering their ears. And I said, "Let's go take a walk. Let's go get some fresh air." And I did an 8-shot right through the garden, and it was the element of distraction. But the fresh air, looking at the butterfly garden that they had just spent a few days ago in the little mud kitchen. So we spent a good 30 minutes there, and it helped her just find that space in her to regulate and be part of the classroom. So of course there was a reminder, hey mom, we want to make sure we don't send our kiddos with cotton candy first thing in the morning. But it's having these connections and relationships with our students, and that space provides it. And I think that's where I've seen the change. We started off the start of the school year at an elementary campus. In the middle of winter break, in those 3 weeks, we moved 7 classrooms to this new space. So moving is stressful on the whole ecosystem. But now we're in a beautiful space. We are flourishing. The students are thriving, and looking forward to its continued expansion with the Nature Explorer concept plan that we hope to implement in the next 2 years.
So I'm going to keep us on TK for a minute because, Vicki, I really appreciate what you said. TK, even though it's been around since 2012, and this is 2026, people forget that, right? It really did kind of gear up over the last 5 years. And it's not the same as it was. There are really intentional efforts happening in TK, and the opportunity, again, outdoor classroom has been around in the early childhood space for 20 years, right? But for TK, this is kind of new. And TK is now part of that early childhood space. But you, as school leaders, also really bridged that from TK all the way to 6th grade, right? So you've got students and that continuum, you've got parents, you've got the district office, you've got the school board. And so how do you navigate all of that? And then as a follow-up, professional development being such an important piece of this, how do you get your teachers into the space?
So TK, I've been at Hope now for 4 years, and the first year that I was there, we did not have a TK because in our district we only had one TK for the 3 schools, and then we had one TK, and now we have 2 TKs, and so I moved a kindergarten teacher down to TK, and the first year, like little kindergarten. I learned a ton. I was very fortunate to connect with Michelle, was able to attend the Audacious Foundation retreat, which was excellent for me. And then I was able to then bring back a lot of those ideas to my TK teacher. We are fortunate that we have a great TK, a longstanding TK teacher in our district who, from my understanding, she would always say the play is the learning. And after the first year, my current TK teacher going through and teaching TK, she said, I finally understand. And so I think that's where we say professional development can't just be a thing. It has to also be embedded in the work. And so, and the ability and the support to be able, from an administrator or a team, to be able to say, try it. It's okay. We can do this work. I'm here. I will field anything that you might be worried about from parents, because this is where we need to go. And so now we have 2 TKs. It's a very different experience to have 44-year-olds on the little play area that we have compared to 20. And so I'm learning, wow, a little more space to really do this well. And so we're trying to create the space in multiple different places. But yeah, that's, I'm not even sure if I answered it, but there we go.
Okay, so we started with 1 TK several years ago, built the outdoor classroom, grew into 2 TKs. We now have 3 TKs. I will say that the outdoor classroom and the outdoor classroom experience has kind of been the buzz, and the community, talks about it in amongst themselves. And so people actually want to come. Harding has become a preferred school, which is very different. It's different than when I got there several years ago. It was the school where people would run away from. And so now we have 3 TKs and 3 kindergartens. We're full for next year. And I do attribute a lot of that to the fact that we have this outdoor space that really gives the feel of a student-centered environment, and it's lovely to watch the kids interact, and the parents really enjoy it as well. What I've noticed is that what has happened actually is one of our TK teachers, who is on the other side of campus, we're sort of a split campus. And she had her own playground. She has completely turned it in to an outdoor classroom. Through grants and other things. She's bought turf because it's asphalt, so she has to cover it with turf. But she's got a lot of great little tables and water tables and magnifying tables and things like that out there. A nice little sandbox. And so we're seeing teachers are understanding just through practice the power of that space and the learning that occurs there. So, and it's just a much more natural space for a little 4-year-old to be in. And when they do dysregulate, like I'm forgetting who said it, but somebody said it. They're very easily distracted. When pollinators come, it's the best thing ever. But it's been quite a journey, and it is the ticket at my school. It's really been the ticket towards kind of student success and also really strong community building.
So again, I always want to say I concur with what they said. I will say that coming back to a larger district, and Lompoc is quite large. We actually have 23 TKs with the 20 students. But what I noticed when I came back is the team of teachers felt like their voice had not necessarily been heard over the last couple of years for whatever reason. And so I came in, and one of the first things that was a topic of conversation was not outdoor classroom, but toileting. And when I was able to get that initiative, I will call it that, kind of solidified. Anyways, then I felt like I started to get trust built. And on top of that, I listened. They asked for professional development around a lot of different things. And so contracted with the county, had conversations about play-based learning. So really building that capacity in them. Also with the leaders around me, whether that be administrators, whether that be assistant superintendents, any opportunity I have to talk about outdoor classroom, I do. I'm very close with one of our school board members, and I definitely don't just walk the walk. I find myself talking the talk a lot. And so I think it just does take time. And I also remind people that I just want you to get off the starting line. We're not all going to be at the same place at these 9 elementary schools. But it's interesting today, I've heard twice now about how this can be a positive thing for your school or your school district, and that we need to promote it more. And it's making me realize that I need to be promoting it more in Lompoc, because sometimes we have families in our community that don't think they have those things available to them, and they go elsewhere. So kind of what you were just saying about Harding, I'm kind of feeling like I need to make sure I'm a part of that in our district, because I think it's a really positive thing that we're providing our students and our families. It's just a matter of now how we get that word out to everybody. So it's a process. I guess I go back to what you just said. So.
Definitely a process, Vicki, and what you have been saying in agreement with having teachers on board, having those conversations. But part of that professional development comes through these weekly staff meetings. So they're not just these heavy extended professional development days, but it's a continuum of that conversation that we have weekly, and have not only the ears of our teachers, but also of our parents. So we do invite our parents to some of our community events. So we have parent voice in some of the decision making that we have there at the Early Learning Center. But even if we go back 5-6 years, we had only one TK classroom when it was right post pandemic. And it was 8 TKers with 12 kindergarten students. So it was a combo class. We know that that doesn't work so well, right? And they said, nope, they have to have their own space. And so it took quite a few years to not only expand our TK program, but also educate our community about the options, right? Because it's one of several options that our families can choose from. We have 2 local Head Starts there in Guadalupe that you have to either be income eligible or have 50% of your income come from migrant services. And then you have your private-based programs as well. So here we do utilize our water utility bill. That is very successful for us. When I first heard of this, I thought, what, a flyer and a water bill? But that has increased our enrollment every year. We've been steady at 90 TKers. This year, we're at 93 TK students across 5 classrooms. We just had 2 enroll last week. So I said, okay, last week or last month of TK, let's do a fast forward into kinder in the next couple of months. But it gives them that experience that we see firsthand when they're outdoors in the outdoor classroom, in the garden, to use that language in both English and Spanish, la Mixteco as well. And having that learning that takes place in those 4 walls to come to life before them. When we came back from spring break, there was an abundant 4, 5, 6 little frogs hopping everywhere. So I'm like, oh, learning opportunity. So right there, it was a great start coming back from spring break. But again, it's having that continuous narrative with our board members, with the rest of administration, seeing now how our principal at the Mary Buren and now sees, okay, the benefit of TK. They come to you more school ready, right? Ready for the kindergarten curriculum and that stamina that's required at that grade level. And so now they're like, okay, you meant well by everything that you've been saying and doing with our district. Like, yeah, we did, right? You want to know something, right?
All right. As someone who has worked for 2 school districts, and it is not an easy ship to turn, right? It takes time. Veronica, I'm going to call you out on this because you were the original one who went through it. Explain to our audience members how school district facilities work and why it takes longer in a school district
You want me to
system.
start about talking about the Department of State Architecture?
Yes, go for it.
Look at everybody. Oh, okay. I had experience the Department of State Architecture by building a shade structure over my kindergarten tables. I had the money. I had it all planned out. Everything was ready to go. It took 5 years. It took 5 years because that's how long it took them to figure out everything we needed. And to get it done, we had to work with the city to make sure that we had verification that the fire hydrant across the street from our school had enough pressure in it to reach the shade structure in the event there was a fire. We had to install all of these water filtration systems, one next to another, which made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And we had to restructure our staff bathroom because apparently it was not, what do you call it? ADA compliant. How they knew that? They never came to our site, right? So they're all looking at blueprints. Sorry, I hope there's nobody here who works for the Department of State Architecture. So what you do when you're planning your outdoor classroom is you try not to put anything in there over 6 feet high because that's how you avoid them. So, and Nature Explorer knows this. But yes, there is that. But also money, right? Money is a huge issue. The only way that I was able to do this was through the First Five grant. And it was a 10-year grant that I wrote for the entire district. And I shouldn't say I wrote it with Devin and another gentleman named Dr. Sean O'Brien. And I think we pretty much spent our whole spring break doing it. Anyway, once we were awarded it, we were able to build the outdoor classroom and a STEAM room. And then we passed it on to the next school. But it wasn't enough to build it. I had to write several more grants in order to pay for the outdoor classroom. And so you have to be good at grant writing as well. And then you have to be ready to pivot because we had a grandiose plan. Prices went way up. And what we had intended on doing didn't pan out. Well, we did a great thing, but we wanted to do a lot more. We did start with our architect, the architect company that the district works with, and they designed something that wasn't good. It was very kind of it just looked like a
Schoolyard.
I don't know. It looks like a schoolyard. It wasn't what Nature Explorer made. So we had to pivot there too.
Well, I just think you covered it. It takes longer.
Yes.
There's
More
other
money.
money.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more expensive to change things on school campuses than others. And then there's a lot of people you have to sell it to, right?
100%.
It's not just like, I'm going to do this. You have to really advocate and be committed to be.
And it is shocking how much things cost. I mean, Michelle put a sandbox before we even started this, a sandbox into the area that is our outdoor classroom. And I think it was a $35,000 sandbox.
So that was like 6 by 3,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then our little grassy knoll. I don't know if you notice our little grassy knoll. So it's literally a little mound with our turf on it. That was $25,000. It's just everything just costs much more when you're working with a school district, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so I know we're running a little short on time. I'm going to just throw this out to all of you. Wherever you are in the process, because you're all at different areas of the process, what is like one ultimate goal you have for students that you think having the access to nature will help you reach?
Who's first? I would say my ultimate goal is for kids to have a place to explore and be kids. So I want them to be kids.
Yeah. We had planned another outdoor space in where we have our flat grass area. But what we've done to accommodate is to just open the garden up, our working garden, open up our art room, open up our STEAM lab, open up other things for kids to do during recess and lunch recess, because not everybody wants to run around the field and swing on the swings, you know. If I wasn't retiring in a couple of weeks, then I would pursue, yeah, yay. Then I would pursue getting more structures on our flat grassy areas, because literally, while kids do play soccer, it's pretty much if they're playing tag ends up as horseplay ends up as fights, and if you give kids things to do that where they have more choice, then they'll be occupied. So that's what I would do.
I guess I would again say just seeing kids outside more at all of our sites, all of our 9 elementary school sites for TK, especially, and just like Anna said, just like having them be kids. We've done a big kind of initiative again with the TKs with a lot of the training around play-based learning, and really that's what I would love to see is kids just out being kids and having that opportunity, because oftentimes, at least in our community, when they leave, they go to apartments and places that it's not safe to be outside. So for our students, that's what I would love to see.
And similar to what you were saying, Vicki, it's a continuation of, yes, what they're learning in the classrooms, but having that safe outdoor space. We have a full acre. I mean, who else would they have a full acre to run safely, play with friends, jump off some of the beams? I'm like, oh, yes. We do get quite a bit of nurse trips in between 9:15 and 9:30. But it's okay. They're ice packs, a little bit of Band-Aid. That's it. Okay, going on now. But that's how they learn, right? Through getting these little scrapes and then like, okay, well, next time I'll be maybe a little careful. I'll stay away from the swing so I don't get bonked on the head because that does happen. But again, it's having that safe space where they could build that confidence, right? And build those skills and taking turns on the trikes, waiting their turn for the swings, or like Veronica was saying, playing tag. Well, that comes through, who's it? And just think of all the language, both in English and Spanish, that's, switch back and forth throughout the day. And it's, again, safe, supervised. We have ample shade now, and tabletop activities. So for those students who do not want to run and play tag or go down the slide or swing, they could have tabletop coloring. We have chalk out on the sidewalk. We have building blocks that could play with, and other natural materials too. Sometimes we just bring out cardboard boxes and they have a blast. Basic, but it's free and they love it. But that's what we do, and having that opportunity for them, parents see it firsthand, and when they take them home, they're either soaked, full of mud, or shoes backwards. They say, well, that's a good day. You go home like that. Yeah. Yep.
Good. So while I have the opportunity and have Veronica right here on the stage with us, I'm going to take this opportunity to formally thank you from First Five as she passes the baton to her successor in the next month. I just want to say what a legacy you left for the children of the West Side of Santa Barbara. When you're ready to come back and consult, I'm sure there are many schools that would love to have you there. And we just really want to say thank you for all the things you've done for children and staff and families in our county.
Thank you.
So
It's
thank
been
you.
an honor, and I really couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
it's the
Yeah.
truth.